All right, welcome back. So if you've ever tried to define your key business metrics in Databricks, you probably know the feeling, that little bit of madness that sets in. Well, today we're going to look at something new, something that takes all that madness away.
But hey, before we can really appreciate just how cool the new solution is, we have to take a quick trip down memory lane, back to the old way of doing things. And for so many of us, that meant one thing: YAML.
You know what I'm talking about, right? You're just trying to define something simple like total sales, and next thing you know, you are drowning in a sea of indentation errors and syntax checks. We've all been there. Yeah, this screen right here, this was reality. It was just this wall of configuration code. Now, don't get me wrong, YAML is super powerful, but let's be real, it is not friendly. You know, I've seen even the best AI assistants get completely tripped up by its super strict rules.
It absolutely is. You'd spend way more time just fighting with the format than actually, thinking about the business logic. But thankfully, that is all about to change.
So enough about the problem. Let's talk about the solution, because Databricks has rolled out a new visual UI that is, and I don't say this lightly, a complete game changer.
Okay, get ready for a big shift here. We are about to swap out that entire wall of code for something that's, something that just makes sense.
And boom, here it is. Just look at that, the new UI. It's so clean, it's visual, and it puts everything you need, your tables, the relationships, your measures, your dimensions, all on one single beautiful screen. This is so much less about coding and way more about just building.
And this quote right here just nails it. This new UI makes data something everyone can work with. It's not just for engineers anymore. Now, analysts and other business users can jump in and define their own metrics and do it fast.
So how does this whole thing actually work? Let's do a quick tour and see how simple it is to turn your raw data into a perfectly defined business metric.
It really just boils down to these 3 simple steps. You connect your data, you define what you want to calculate, and then you check your work instantly. No more of that painful cycle of write, run, debug, and then repeat it all over again. Okay, first up, connecting your data. See this canvas? You literally just drag and drop your tables on here and then draw lines to connect them. That's it. You're not wrestling with complex join statements anymore. It's just click and connect.
Next, you define your measures. So in this tab, you can add all your calculations, and I mean everything, from a simple count to more advanced stuff like window functions, for running totals or rankings. And you do it all in this clean, simple interface, no syntax required.
And this might be the best part. You get instant feedback. You can click on any measure you create, group it by a dimension, and immediately see a preview of the data. Right now, it looks like you can group by one dimension in the preview, which is honestly perfect for a quick validation. It lets you sanity check your logic without ever having to leave the screen.
Now, for all the technical folks watching, you might be thinking, okay, this UI is nice and all, but am I losing control? What about the code underneath? And the answer is a big fat no.
See, this is the magic. As you're clicking and dragging in the UI on the left, Databricks is automatically generating all that powerful YAML code for you in the background. So you get the ease of a visual builder with all the power of code. You could even start in the UI and then hop over to the YAML to tweak things later. It's truly the best of both worlds.
So what is this thing we've just created? It's called a metrics view. And a good way to think of it is like a recipe for your business metric. And that recipe gets stored in a central cookbook, which is Unity Catalog, so that everyone in your whole organization is using the exact same one.
Okay, let's bring this all home and look at the real payoff. What does this new workflow actually unlock for you and your teams?
Well, this new UI is pretty much a one-stop shop for everything metrics. You can join your tables, add your measures, and, this is huge, add all that important business context, like descriptions, comments, and tags. It lets you turn raw data into actual, well-documented business knowledge. And this right here is the final result. Once you're all done, you get this beautiful, clean overview right inside Unity Catalog. Now everyone can see the measures, the dimensions, all of it. This becomes the single source of truth for your most important numbers. No more debates about what total sales actually means.
When defining your metrics becomes this easy, you can finally focus on what really matters, asking the right business questions. Which kind of brings us to our final thought. With this new power at your fingertips, what are you going to measure first?